There are 168 hours in a week. We go to church for 1 hour. What about the other 167?
Cue this podcast. We're here to bring the church to you the rest of the week. I'm David Vogel, the Director of Communication here at Central Community Church.
I'm Corey Brodel, the Director of Community. We've been to the 1 hour in church. Now welcome to the other 167.
Well, today we have John Wright with us, and John has been at full-time on staff at the church for almost a year, and he is our Director of Facilities. So, John, I'm really looking forward to talking about how you kind of approach your job today. So thank you for coming on.
Well, David, thank you for having me, Corey.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I'll let you know anything you need to know.
Okay, great.
Let's talk about pre-working for the church. How long have you guys been coming to Central?
Well, we've been coming to Central for right at about 7 years now.
7 years. And so you kind of jumped in and got involved really fast.
We did. Interesting story. We just came here to visit. Our good friend Shelley Graves had been after us to come and visit, and no, we already belong to another church. We're not interested finding another church. We're just not interested. And so one Sunday we decided to come, and we never left. And from there, we just started getting involved, and Aaron got involved in the music ministry, and I got involved in several different ministries, and here we are still today, and it's all because the people here are so friendly is why we stayed.
Well, we're glad you did. And you've gotten involved, but you've gotten involved at really a pretty high level.
Pretty high level, right away. It's kind of interesting at the church we were at. I couldn't get involved. I tried, and Aaron, well, neither one of us really could get that involved, and we're kind of wondering, what's the matter with us?
Yeah.
So we kind of just backed off and sat out in the auditorium and listened to the sermons, and we weren't involved in a life group or Sunday school class, and so when we came here, then I don't know what happened, but it opened up. I guess God was saying that wasn't the place for you. This is.
Yeah.
So it's
So
time for you to pay attention.
This is probably a short list, but you've been on church council.
Yes.
You were kind of headed up the branding and marketing committee for a while.
Yeah,
when
I
that was
started
going.
out doing the branding and marketing committee.
Okay.
Actually, Pastor Bob had Cheryl contact me and invite me to lunch one day, and I'm thinking, what did I do?
I know.
I wasn't even involved at that
Called
point.
to the principal's office.
And he asked me if I'd be interested in being the chairman of the branding and marketing committee, that we were in a process of rebranding the church. That's when we started Central Landing. And I said, well, Pastor Bob, I don't have an education in marketing and branding. He goes, yeah, but you own your own businesses, and you've been involved in that a lot. And I said, well, that's true. And so I said, okay, if you've got confidence in me to do that, then we'll do it. And I really liked it. I spent quite a lot of time doing it. I remember Aaron always said, you're spending 30 or 40 hours a week working at the church. You might as well be employed there.
And then, as if on cue.
So, good lead-in. So you started on in June, and a word that you guys have been saying a lot with these different things that you were involved in is ministry. And when you came on, you got the facilities director position, and you have taken over that ministry and really have done great things with it. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do here at the church.
Well, thank you, Corey. I appreciate that a lot. Of course, being on the church council for 5 years, or actually 4 years, I knew a lot of the needs. I've was able to get involved with staff and in budgeting. I was the secretary treasurer, so I really knew and understand, a lot of what was going on in behind the scenes of the church. And so I saw the facilities director position come open, and I told Justin Moore, our executive director, which came on a year before I did, that, hey, if you're interested in filling that position, let me know. It's kind of in my wheelhouse. I think I can do pretty good with it, And he goes, well, I'm just going to do it myself for right now. And I said, well, let me repeat myself. When you get tired of doing that and it gets too much, call me and we'll talk. And it wasn't long. He called, and we sat down and discussed me coming to work. Doing the facilities director position, I was a little nerving, it's okay, But anyway, got involved in it. Because I'd been involved, I really knew that we needed to take a different approach with this ministry, because it really is a ministry. I don't look at it just as a management position or that we're just janitors or custodial or anything of that nature. That, we've got a huge campus here. I mean, it's really big. 60 air conditioning units to take care of, by the way, just to give you...
And they're not the small ones.
Yeah, just to give you the size and enormity of this campus. And so I immediately came in with the mindset that I would start working with the staff that we had, that this really is going to be considered a ministry, not just a management or maintenance position. That in all reality, there are a lot of ministry departments and directors and events and all of the things that we do here at Central all funnel down to the facilities.
Yeah.
And having a facility that is well maintained, that we provide the resources that everybody needs to conduct their ministries and be proud of what they're doing. And looking at it as church growth as well. From the minute you drive in the parking lot to the baptistry, you need to have something that looks good, feels good. That's all goes along, as far as I'm concerned, with a friendly church. Then you need to have a nice facility.
Right.
When people leave out the drive, that was nice. It felt good. The people were nice. I felt welcome, and it was nice. It was clean. It was organized, and I think I'll come back.
Yeah. So I'm just a real brief list. You mentioned it's a big campus. It's also an aging building. So not quite a year yet, but in this first year, what are some of the biggest projects that you've had to tackle just to keep this building functional as well as inviting and pleasant just to be in?
Well, one of the biggest tasks, as I mentioned earlier, was the HVAC system, the heating and air, with 60 different units, anywhere from 30 ton to 2 ton, and 60 thermostats, and an energy management system that manages all 60 of those thermostats. That's been the biggest task. We have somebody out here working on air conditioning full time. They're here almost every day.
Wow.
So coordinating them with the energy management software program and that company has been a big task. But I think the biggest task that I'm overtaking is trying to present the church council with a 5 to 10 year capital expenditure program. Because it is an aging building, from the glass and the seals around the glass to the roofing, to the air conditioning, to the parking lot, to all the lighting, converting the lights in the building to LED, doing everything we can to be good stewards of our energy, because the monthly electric bill is pretty high, and so that's a serious goal I have, to get that reduced and get it to where we can manage it.
Yeah, I think what you just said, being good stewards, that is... I mean, we always talk about it, and I think we always think about it in our personal budgets. We have to be good stewards of what God's given us. But God has given us this facility, this building, and we have to be good stewards, because if you don't manage it, if you don't plan ahead, and if you're not thinking proactively, you're not being a good steward of it. You're just kind of using it until it's gone, which is how some of us manage our budgets at home.
Yeah, I call that just putting out fires or kicking the can down the road until you run out of road.
Right.
And what do you do? Yeah. So we're kind of at that point in a lot of areas of the building. So I'm pretty excited about this capital expenditure program. We don't call it capital expenditure in the church, but from my business world, that's actually what it is. And there's going to be a lot in it. It's going to be pretty intense.
Yeah. So one of the...
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so talking about big projects, we've got a big one coming.
I was actually going to lead into this. So
would you like to take the question?
No, you got it.
We've got... Okay. Blake's in the back listening going, come on, guys. Just
keep talking.
Just ask the question. We have a big, exciting project coming up that you've been really involved in kind of getting the prep work for. You want to tell us about that a little bit more?
Well, yeah, I'd love to share that with you, because it is exciting, and I'm very passionate about it. And I was very passionate about it when I was on the church council. I've always been a firm believer as a council member that we need to do everything we can to promote young families and the youth in our church. And it's very, very important that we work on this. And before I left the church council, I was working with our foundation president, Daryl Young, to raise money in the community and throughout the church to build a new youth center. And then COVID happened, and everything just kind of, it was kind of done.
Yep.
So out of COVID has come a new vision. It's called Route 252. It will be, we're converting the activity center into a kids ministry, a theatrical kids ministry, where we can bring the kids and the families in to learn about Jesus from a theatrical standpoint with characters and lights and having fun. And we're very excited about that. It's a big project. I have become the project manager for that. We're working with 2 contractors, the tradesmen. They're actually contractors from New Spring Church on the east side, and Conco, who built our chapel, which was another big project that we undertook here. So we're working with them to get this facility rebuilt and redesigned, and it's
a complete overhaul.
It is
a complete overhaul.
What that for me, that means, we're not just making it look cool and nice and new, but we're actually being very intentional and making sure that, what we're putting the nice paint and colors and lighting on, it's functional underneath. Like we're talking, converting kind of our old locker rooms into functional bathrooms, right?
Yes, that's
and
correct.
We're having to tap into a sewer line that's in another little part of the building. So it's not glamorous, but you're making sure that it's being done the right way.
Yep.
Yes, early on I knew that we would need some engineering with everything that we were wanting to do. So SPT, our architects, Spanglenberg and Tice, have been kind enough to come in and guide us through a master plan and engineering and getting the engineers hired to do the electrical, to do the restrooms and all the sewer and all the plumbing and all the flooring and work us through the city variance committee so we know what permitting that we have to have. It's very involved. And unfortunately, to do these restrooms, we're going to have to cut into the main sewer, which is out in the CCP main hallway, in the preschool hallway, and it's going to be a major undertaking. It's probably the biggest part of the project that we have to do. So that's going to start while they're off for vacation until June 1. Hopefully we have enough time to get that done.
Well, we are all very excited about that upcoming project. So I'm going to switch over a little bit. One thing that really impresses me, I love the guys that you get to work with every single day that are here on staff. But it also amazes me every time I pull into our parking lot, you've got several volunteers out there working on the trees and the landscape.
How many trees did
painting
you trim a couple weeks ago?
Well, every tree on the property.
Which is?
I don't know how many. Phil Blocker, a man that goes to church here, him and his wife, they have a tree company, and he volunteered to come in with his crew, and Maximum Tree Service is their company, and they offered to come in and trim every tree on the property. I had a group of volunteers that were kind of working on it a little bit at a time, and I have a landscape company that helps us with our flower beds and that type of thing. But it was such a massive undertaking. They came in and got it all done.
Wow!
And it just looks a lot better. It's a lot better. So
it looks fantastic. But then also around here, you have volunteers that are here painting and cleaning up the sanctuary. And you just got an awesome team that you get to work with.
We do. I have been able to put together 2 teams. We have an outdoor team that do the mowing around the building and the edging of all the sidewalks and all that.
Send them to my house when they're done.
Yeah. I told them, David's next. I have another crew that do everything from wash windows to paint walls to help us purge storage rooms. They've also done some landscaping, cutting the pampas grass. Just awesome volunteers. And every week they call me up. What do you got for us this week?
I love that.
And boom, here we go.
Yep.
And these are the little things that most people probably won't notice. Like I'd be surprised if anybody noticed that a few weeks ago all the pews got restained, but they did. And it's just those little things that keep the building fresh and and well kept that it makes a difference.
Yeah, it took us about 2 months to stain every pew in the building.
Wow.
And we also stained all the sanctuary doors and all the wainscot and the stairwells and all of that. And they stayed right with it. And I didn't think it was going to make that big of a difference. Kind of questioned it right at first. But it worked, and it cleaned them up a lot. And so, like this Friday, they're coming in to get the Bibles out of storage and put them all back in the pews.
That's exciting.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've got 700 or 800 Bibles that you've got to spread around,
it's a lot of work.
It is. And I appreciate everyone so much for what they do for us. We couldn't do it. We would never be able to manage it without them.
Yep. And that goes back to talking with Miranda about Serve Central. Maybe you're not a teacher, maybe you're not a singer, or you don't want to be at the front door greeting people. But if you've got these other skills, you can still use them in the church.
Yep.
It's still ministry. It's still serving the body.
It's funny you mentioned that, because this group of volunteers I've got, they greet at the front door. They help us wipe the pews down, sanitize everything after services. Each Sunday, they pick up communion cups. I don't even have to ask. They just jump in and get it done. And they love the Lord. They love their church, and they love what they're doing, and it shows.
Well, John, I just want to say thank you for everything you do here at the church, all your volunteers, the guys that you work with. Sundays can't happen. Ministry during the week can't happen if it wasn't for you guys. So thanks for being on the podcast and being here at the church.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for listening to 167. Please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you're listening from.
And to keep up with everything at Central Community Church, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to watch us record this podcast live, find us on YouTube.
We think the 167 hours between church services are so important, and we hope you'll share this episode with your friends. Join us next week.